Just a short walk away from where thousands will gather for the Kentucky Derby next month, there's an apartment complex with hundreds of documented code violations over just the past few years. And many of those violations include reports of raw sewage leaking from the apartment building, which the Louisville Health Department has now tested and confirmed. For his latest troubleshooter investigation, Morjalis speaks with residents at the Furlong Apartments who say the sewage never stops.
The bathroom doesn't work.
I've been sweeping and mopping.
And no one has come and responded?
No, nobody.
You can clearly see where we standing near some raw sewage.
The list of issues at the Furlong Apartments on Oleander Avenue is so long, the Department of Codes and Regulations can't even fit them all on the front door.
So there's always some kind of situation, a problem.
This woman named Carmen looks after her in-laws at the Furlong Apartments. She showed us some of the issues she's dealing with.
My mother-in-law called me one morning panicking because there was blood all over the hallway. And she texted me asking to please tell, the person at the office to come fix it. I kept texting her, and it took them about 10 days to come clean it up. It was to the point, and it was on those days when it was really warm, so the blood stank, like it smelled like a dead animal.
But what we found most surprising was all the raw sewage spilling out of the apartment buildings and into the road and nearby park where children are playing just a few feet away.
There's tissues, maybe toilet paper, baby wipes probably because there's babies nearby, all over the place.
Why do you think it is that nobody does anything about this?
They just don't want to, honestly, because it's not like it's something that happened just now. It's something that's been happening for years.
And Carmen isn't exaggerating. Here's an old photo from Codes and Regs of reported sewage leaking from the apartment on October 6th, 2023. Here's another from September 2024 and another from March 2025. One resident named Jeremy told us he doesn't even let his kids play outside anymore.
I don't want my kids playing out here at all, especially if I'm smelling raw sewage or whatnot. And kids, they pick up dirt, play and everything. So I want them to come back in the house and they done picked up somebody's bowel movements.
And the list of issues goes on and on. In just the past 2 years, we found there have been more than 300 records of complaints, violations, and citations at this property alone. Sewage, water damage, even one report of a possum living in a utility closet.
This apartment complex is a very difficult apartment complex that had multiple violations. We've gotten multiple complaints. Very limited responses, from the maintenance staff and particularly the owners.
Louisville Codes and Regulations Director Richard Price says those owners currently owe more than $28,000 to the city of Louisville in unpaid property fines. According to property records, a company called We Capital Furlong LLC owns the Furlong Apartments. The LLC is based in Roselle, New Jersey, and managed by a man named Stephen Weinstock.
Now, Weinstock didn't want to do an interview for this story because he tells us he's a private man. But when we looked his name up on the internet, we found that's not necessarily true. In fact, when you search his name on Google, we actually found he has a very large online footprint, including several videos on both Instagram and YouTube where he's giving advice to investors and property owners on how to be successful.
In one video, Weinstock gives advice on how to manage C-class properties from 500 miles away. In another post on his Instagram, Weinstock appeared to be at the Furlong Apartments. He writes, quote, "I rolled up to find 5 or 6 police cars on site for a domestic disturbance. Not exactly the welcome committee I was hoping for." He then goes on to say, quote, "Managing properties means staying on our toes and being ready for anything. It's about creating safe and happy homes for our residents, no matter what challenges come our way."
Look, I have not looked on the internet. I haven't seen that. But if that's in fact what he's saying, he's not being truthful, because these apartments are deplorable and need to be fixed.
Price says if the sewage and other violations continue to be ignored, the city may foreclose on the property. MSD says they can't do anything about the raw sewage either because the leak is on private property and the responsibility is ultimately up to the owners. Weinstock provided me a statement that he says came from the management company overseeing the property. It said says, quote, "We are aware of the ongoing sewer issues at the property and have been actively working to resolve the situation. We've also engaged multiple contractors to help identify the root cause of the problem."
It's just unacceptable.
But for folks at the apartments like Carmen, the issues aren't being addressed quickly enough.
I would love for them to actually come and fix it. However, to fix this place, they would probably have to tear it down and build it back up, honestly.
The Louisville Health Department has been monitoring the sewage issues. They gave the owners until this past Friday to fix it, but officials say that the owner once again did not follow through on his promise.